Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey everybody, I'm Doc Hamels, and so glad to be back here. We're live, we're here. Last week we were pre-taped, and I hope you didn't call in or get frustrated trying to call in. I understand a lot of people enjoyed the show. I saw comments there. We had Dave Brown talking about the New York 9th Cavalry and from the Civil War and so forth, and that was really interesting. So first time I was able to sleep in on a Saturday morning, and Brody, my dog, decided that I needed to get up early with the daylight savings and everything else. Didn't matter to him. So much for sleeping in on a Saturday morning. Glad you could join us. First of all, good morning to all of you that are here with me right now, and good afternoon for those of you who are with me right now around the world, because we're streaming live. I love it when you leave a little note or say hi, so please continue that. I want to say good afternoon also to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown. Thanks for joining us. So glad you could have a listen. As always, we've got a very interesting show in store for you today, as always, and I hope that you participate, if you can, by calling in if you have a question at 716-753-5225. And always, the only one rule, be kind. If you have a question, be kind, or else you're gone. If you have a comment, question, if you have an announcement, for instance, I'll do an announcement right now. A lot of people don't know this, but Chris Burt was born here at the studio, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think he's ever, I don't know, I've never seen him anywhere else. And he's going to have a special birthday this coming Saturday. I was told by someone, a family member, I won't mention who it is, but he is my cameraman. Chris is going to be 30 on Saturday next week. So I tell you that now is because we're going to be pre-taping next week's show, so I won't be able to say anything then. Officially. But anyways, happy birthday, Chris. Chris is our director here and does a lot of the behind the scenes work for us, especially a lot of the computer tech stuff. And it looks pretty easy. I sit here and talk. That's what my job is. Meanwhile, these guys are running around reconnecting wires and doing interfaces, and I'm making up words here I don't even know what I'm talking about. But They they do a lot of things where they make sure we're up and running for all the shows here. So anyways, happy birthday, Chris. Many, many more. Okay, well, according to what what my official source of information today, I asked Alexa. I didn't go to Facebook. I went to Alexa. I think she's a little bit higher source these days. What was the first day of spring? And I got two answers. I guess there's an astronomical or well, I don't know, weather-wise, there's a first day of spring, and then there's the official U.S. first day of spring. So I guess we'll go with today being the first day of spring. I don't know what the official time is. Usually there's like at 10:23 a.m. it'll be spring. But anyway, today's the first day of spring. And I know at my house, the flowers are actually pushing their way up. I'm still amazed that they can do that under all that snow all that time. And birds are coming back. I saw robins, and just feels really, really good. And so a self-serving announcement, if you have spring fever already and you want to break out, tomorrow from 2 to 5, I'll be playing with the Growlers over at the Big Inlet Brewing, or right down the road here in Mayville, from 2 to 5. So we're going to open up the season. We're going to be one of the first venues that are going to have live music, as are many in the state. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on as far as where we stand with all that and the rules, because they're ever changing. But things are starting to loosen up finally, and I'm really happy that that's happening. Okay. Let's see. Did that. Okay. We have a few other things to talk about. I have a slide that we've been using the last few weeks on COVID vaccines. So let's pop that up, Jeff. And I want to remind you that vaccines are being distributed throughout the county. It's, I think, my opinion only, but it's been a lot easier for people to find the vaccines. They're at some of the drugstores, they're at the county, at the hospitals, and so on. But if you are still looking for a vaccine, there's the information right there. You can call them at 833-697-4829. All right, that's like the big connecting number. But if you're throughout the county and you want to call from Mayville, Jamestown, or Dunkirk, there's the numbers there. For the Jamestown folks that are just listening right now, 661-7582, and that'll get you the Chautauqua County, New York Connects. Again, 661-7582 for Jamestown. Folks that are 60 years on up, they can get their shots now, and I guess that number will probably drop as we go along. Last I heard, I think we're approaching 25% of the county being vaccinated, and we're leading the western New York area from I can tell, maybe about 0.5%. But anyways, that's a good thing. I'm happy to tell you that I've had my second shot, still here. Sore arm, little tired, but otherwise, no big deal. I missed the first time ever in the last 10 years, I think, to play St. Paddy's Day, so I hope you all are recovering from that. I couldn't play because I had my shot the day before, and there was no way I could guarantee that I would be able to play with the guys, so they got me a substitute. But anyways, some people, they're getting a little bit of a fever, or they're just taking it slow and easy, or having a nice long nap or two. But you'll get through it, and we're all protecting ourselves and the ones that we love around us. So please do get a shot. All right. I do have another announcement that I shared, and this is the last time I'm going to announce this. We did a couple of these already, I think 2 or 3 local town announcements. So let's bring up the Ripley one. Ripley is looking for comment on the solar law that is before them right now. And this is not on any project. This is not about anything on your roof or anything like that as far as the moment. What it is, it's the law that they're looking at, that they are going to be able to pass eventually, where it'll basically be the law of the town regarding solar projects in the future, okay? And they're looking for a written comment by the March 30th. I'm doing this for the last time today because next week will basically about too late. So if you have a comment or question regarding the solar law, not anything else, just the law itself, if you need more information, go down to the town building, see Becky Carvella, and she has the law there. You can go online and so forth. But anyways, get that to Doug Bowen by March 30th. He would appreciate that. Okay, so thanks for that, Jeff. Reason why I mentioned this, and I'm sure, and you'll hear from my guest here shortly, This is our state, this is our county, these are our towns, and so many of us end up being the silent majority, and it's always the squeaky minority. And this is not pointing finger at anybody, but we have such a complacent population lately that the silent majority is like sleeping at the wheel. So if you want to say something to your legislators, to your congressmen, to your state representatives, to your local councilmen, supervisors, on whatever the topic is, get your voice out there. They want to hear, because sometimes they're working in a blind. They think they know what y'all want, but unless they hear from you, they don't. So this is an opportunity here for the Ripley folks to do the same. I think we mentioned Jamestown was looking at the police department. They were looking at some changes there. And then I know Westfield was looking at some of their policing activities. They have some plans and programs that they're reviewing, and they wanted some input on that. So for those that are watching right now, we're happy to share that information with your communities as well. That's what we do. Okay. And lastly, I want to always thank all my underwriters that support the show. I do this every once in a while, and one of them I want to do a shout out is to Meters. A lot of you may or may not know that, but you can go there and order the Chautauqua Sunrise. It's a huge breakfast. It's a big piece of ham, eggs and toast and home fries, and the price is really cool. And I've had it. I can't finish it. I couldn't do it, and I eat a lot. I couldn't do it. So anyways, thanks for those guys down at Meters. They're working hard. And lastly on that, as the venues open up, your restaurants, your salons, your gyms, your whatever's, the local watering holes, the bar scene, the music scene, wear your mask, get vaccinated, go out and enjoy yourself, follow the rules. They're not that difficult. And we start getting back to some type of normalcy. All right, I have some announcements that we're going to go through. And Jeff, if you would please adjust the clock so I know how much time I have, because I can talk forever without realizing it, so I want to make sure I leave enough time for my guest. All right, so 10 minutes in. Okay, so we're going to start with slide 15. It's the 5th Annual Caregiver Conference. It's going to be held on March 26th. It's a free Zooming type let's see, I'm trying to think what this is. I guess it's like Zoom, via computer. It's the Chautauqua County Office of Aging at Western New York Alzheimer's Association. Will be covering the following topics. All right, home care, health insurance, caregiver stress and how to manage it. This is a free virtual event for caregivers of individuals with dementia. Free respite care is available upon request. Register, I was right, register for the Zoom conference and for a free lunch that is included if desired by calling 366-3335 extension 1236 or 661-6430 extension 1236. Once registered, we will send you a link to the Zoom meeting. No computer? You can join us by phone as well, they say. Health insurance. Join us via, I'm not sure why that's there. Join us via, okay, find out the services from agencies such as Southwestern Independent Living, caregiver stress and how to manage it will be covered. Health insurance will be covered. It's a little out of order the way it's written. They'll also have a pharmacist on hand to answer any questions you might have. And a guest that we've had here in the past, Nancy Dunbar, is going to be involved with this, and she's the COI Alzheimer's Support Specialist. And you can give her a call, 366-3335, extension 1236. All right, thank you. I know that some folks in this community are dealing with a member that has dementia or Alzheimer's, and it's tough. It's tough, and you need some support. You might have some suggestions, and a lot of times we feel isolated, especially in the day and age that we're in here, that we're slowly digging our way out. But it's easy to feel alone because you can't get out to a in-person meeting. So check it out. All right, that's coming up on March 26th. Okay, this is one that's just an announcement, and this is my hometown. Medal of Honor Day. March 25th is Medal of Honor Day. It's going to be held at 12 o'clock, and they're unveiling and officially adding a new name and new names and a new sign at the Ripley Valor Monument right in the middle of town. There's going to be a brief ceremony of reading the citations and mentioning the Medal of Honor Day. You are invited to attend. Check the weather, it says. So the weather should be pretty good, I would hope. So it was just kind of a new event, but Medal of Honor Day, March 25th in Ripley, noon. Ah, man, the next one, I can't believe. Let's bring it up. Dennis Drew is retiring. Oh my gosh. Dennis Drew is the founder of WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown, is retiring this month from the radio station. That seems hard to believe. Managing WRFA has been a dream come true, said Drew. I love radio and I love performing, and he does them both so well. Dennis wrote to me, I don't know, years ago it seems, and said maybe we should get together and talk about what he does and what I do. And the next thing I know, I'm on his radio show. The next thing I know, he's out on my show, and we put together the connection between the radio and television, and he does our soundtrack, as you know, on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. And we've had a great friendship. Dennis is a funny guy, too. Dennis, if you're listening, you'll laugh. Dennis will send me an email and say, what's the name of that group that was on your show a couple months ago, the Irish group? And I'll send it to him. Then I don't hear from him for like 2 years. And then he'll say, hey, can you and Will play for the Christmas thing? I go, yeah. Then I don't hear from him again for 2 years. So anyways, Dennis is a cool guy. Let me read some more here. A love for radio and performing were instilled in Dennis Drew at a young age. He started a middle school intercom show in 1971 before moving to a half-hour show on WJTN in his teens while a student at Jamestown Community College. Drew and childhood friend Steve Gustafson, I know Steve, created the school's low-power station WJWK, advised by Ed Tomasini. A weekend gig at WNAE in Warren, Pennsylvania followed. Gustafson and Drew went on to form this group, I don't know if you ever heard of them, the 10,000 Maniacs, and continued to record and tour in the United States. Okay, so just to give you one more little snippet here, WRFA is a low-power community radio station. First went in the airwaves in 2004. Drew and engineer Ed Tomasini brought the radio station to life at the Arts Council for Chautauqua County with Federal Communication Commission application, with a matching grant from the Sheldon Foundation and a dedicated group of private donors. The Arts Council, Philip Morris and Keith Schmidt were integral in encouraging the endeavor in finding the call letters, respectively. So Dennis has been with them for all that time. He is just a wonderful person to talk with, and he's got a very distinct voice quality about him that I really enjoy. So Dennis, enjoy your retirement from radio, but I know you're going to be touring the United States here soon, because I know I follow you guys. I'm a 10,000 Maniac stalker, so I'm on Facebook with them, and they're going to be touring the States just as soon as things start to open up again. So best wishes, good health, and rock and roll. Keep on. Okay, so what else is going on in the world today? Turn the River Green. The city's annual Turn the River Green event will be held today, March 20th at 11 a.m. So you can watch the show and then scoot out at the Chautauqua River at JAM or JAMA parking lot. Last year's event was canceled due to COVID-19. This year, precautions have been taken to ensure the safety of all residents. If you're attending the event, please wear a mask and social distance. Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist said of the event, Turn the River Green is a proud Jamestown tradition that we are happy to be continuing after last year's cancellation. Due to the nature of the event, being outdoors and the ability to easily social distance, we thought that this was an excellent opportunity to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in a safe and responsible manner. So the celebration continues even though St. Patrick's Day was the other day. Okay? So that's today at 11 o'clock. Take the kids. It'll be a lot of fun. And they have a little leprechaun that shows up as well. All right. Let's keep on moving. This is from the Chamber of Commerce. There's a meeting online March 26th. Why do I tell you this? Because, listen, each year the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce provides an opportunity to meet with our representative in the House of Representatives. This year, our meeting will be with Congressman Tom Reed. It'll be held at noon on Friday, March 26th. Remember, I talked about staying in tune and connected with your elected officials. This event is open to Chamber members and non-members alike and is sponsored by the Advanced Manufacturing Technology, Chautauqua Institution, Forecon Incorporated, Jamestown Mattress Company, Media One Radio Group, The Observer, The Post Journal, and UPMC Chautauqua, and I guess me too, because I'm an announcing it. They encourage all attendees to come prepared with questions that can be submitted for our congressman. In addition, we ask that you support our small businesses and order lunch from your favorite local restaurant to enjoy the event. Okay, and if you're interested, you can register at chautauquachamber.org. Chautauqua Chamber is all one word, .org. Okay, moving right along. Sassy bags. This is from our buddy Steve Watterson at the Resource Center. Due to COVID restrictions, this year's Sassy Bags Blingo is going to look different, but we are taking it to a new level with 20 prizes in 20 days. Ooh. Please see details below. Well, we don't have a below, so you can look at the screen. If you would like to purchase tickets, please call 661-1477. 661-1477. Money raised benefits the WOW Fund, one of the Resource Center's funds that is managed by the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation. This fund supports persons with disabling conditions in fulfilling their wishes and dreams to enjoy recreational and travel experiences based on financial need. This fund was created in memory of a TRC employee who died in 2010. So if you're feeling lucky, be sure to get your tickets for the Sassy Bags Blingo fundraiser, and that's sales end on March 31st. So again, 20 prizes in 20 days, $20 for 20 tickets. For more information, you can go, or for the tickets, you can go to fillingthegap, all one word, .net, /events/sassybags-blingo. Okay, so there you have that event. Okay, number 18, Shredded event. Okay, this is over in Westfield. Real quick, April 3rd. They are having their Shred Fest where they take all your old documents and they shred it, only for $10 a box. And this is sponsored by the Westfield Memorial Hospital Auxiliary. Okay, then, number 19, the Tarp Skunks schedule. Say that 10 times fast. Jamestown Tarp Skunks released their 21 schedule. Jamestown, members of the Collegiate Baseball League will begin their home portion of their schedule with back-to-back games against the Batavia Muck Dogs on Thursday, June 10th, and the Elmira Pioneers on June 11th. Both games are set for 7 p.m. for the first pitch. Russell Dietrich, Jr., president of Jamestown Community Baseball, LLC, stated, It'd be fantastic to hear play ball once again at our historic stadium. To the leadership of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, our sponsors, partners, and financial backers, we extend a heartfelt thanks for your support and vision. To our loyal fans, we say thank you for being part of Jamestown's rich baseball tradition and so on. So anyways, baseball's coming up, first night, June 10th. I think we all should go. All right, what else we got here? Safety Village. All right, Safety Village will be hosting Easter Carnival this Saturday this year on Saturday, April 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will once again be modifying the event to make it a drive-through where vehicles can enter through the back of the village, drive through the property to get candy, and back out. We learned so much from our Halloween event, and we'll be modifying the entrance strategy and route as a result to make it more efficient. They'll have the Asheville Fire Department directing traffic and monitoring the traffic flow. It's a lot of fun. If you're interested, again, April 3rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And finally, we have slide 20, Run for Hope. The Hope Chautauqua is a substance use prevention coalition. They envision a healthy, drug-free community where all residents have an equal opportunity to reach their full potential. Okay, this is... mark your calendar only at this point, and they're going to have virtual runnings and so forth from May 1 through the 31st. So that's coming up. We're going to take a breather and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. My guest is now in the studio and we'll be ready for him. Stay tuned.
I never thought I could be brave enough. I'm not trained to do that kind of stuff. But I decided to take the first step.
Is there a fire in you? Volunteer at www.
I don't know what the rest of it, but hey, folks, it's my pleasure to welcome back my friend, New York State Senator George Borrello. who is going to tell us all the good stuff that's going on in Albany. The good stuff, only the good stuff. That's all we talk about here.
Try not to laugh when you say that, Doc.
Yeah, if you, unless you are under a rock or have been out of the up in space, you probably know what's been going on, folks. But anyways, George, welcome back.
Good morning. Great to be back, Doc. Good to be back on the show. Happy first day. I believe it's meteorological spring.
There you go.
I think that might be the term you were searching for.
I was going astrological. No, that's astrology. Meteorological.
Yeah.
Say that. Yeah. It's too early in the morning to say that word, meteorological. So how you been?
Good. It's been busy times right now. Certainly back and forth to Albany right now as we are in session, and certainly so many important things going on right now. The budget, the many challenges we're facing, controversies, and still trying to get the work that needs to be done. So it's a challenging time. There's no doubt about it. But there's also been good things going on, and certainly here locally, we've got some things to celebrate as well as challenges to face.
Okay.
So
we'll get to those in a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned session, and I like to talk about this a little bit because people don't realize that you guys meet in a session.
Yeah.
Can you define that for us? Because I think people think you're there every day, and you're not.
Yeah. Well, first of all, because of COVID, session looks very different.
Okay.
We did pass rules last year during the pandemic to allow us to meet virtually. However, if you want to speak on a bill in the state Senate, you must be present in Albany, and therefore I am there every week. And it's typically right now it's budget time, but it starts off. In January, we're in session a couple days a week. Usually I'm in Albany more than a couple days, but we're actually in session a couple days a week. And then, because we also have committee meetings as well as session. I sit on 7 committees. I'm the ranking member of 3 committees. And it's budget, it was budget and revenue last year. This year it's procurement and contracts and agriculture. Which I'm very proud to be the ranking member of agriculture, and I'm also the ranking member of the banks committee. So we have committee meetings as well as session, and then as each week progresses, we get into longer periods of time in session. I will be in Albany. I'll leave Sunday tomorrow and drive to Albany, and I will be home maybe Thursday night, but we really don't know because now that we're into the heat of the budget season, we could be held over for extra days. So
when does the session generally end? In general, so you start in January. When does it? Generally
we
end?
are scheduled to end early June. Now that may get extended also.
Sure.
So people do think are you moving to Albany? That kind of stuff. It's really 6 months, January to June, roughly. Not quite 6 months. And then, of course, we will go back to Albany when we are out of session for various reasons.
As needed.
Yes, exactly. But I don't live in Albany. I live here in the district. I'm home every weekend during session. And then, of course, I think when things get more back to normal, we'll have all the events that we normally have out in the district, all the great things that we like to do, and to go see people. And hopefully this summer we'll see a return to normalcy.
Now, people often don't realize, and this is my only knowledge of it, Andy Goodell told me that he actually rented a broom closet that he shared with another person. I mean, you guys got to stay somewhere, right? I mean, do you have an apartment or a hotel? How's that work?
I stay in a hotel room. It's nothing fancy, of course, but it's the convenience of being in a hotel. Some members do rent apartments. Airbnb actually has been for a lot of them has been a great way for people to just rent a room, or something like that. So it's up to you how you want to handle it. I kind of like having the convenience of being in a hotel room.
People always say, "Oh, it must be exciting to be on the road," and after, "Oh, no, it's not."
Well, prior to
we're having the same breakfast again here at the hotel.
Exactly.
I've seen that sausage before.
Well, especially right now, unfortunately with COVID, breakfast is like donut holes and coffee.
Here's your bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's your mask. Here's your bag.
So
Yeah, but I mean, people think, oh, this is no.
Yeah.
I used to have to go to Albany for another job, and I think I had, not like you by any means, but I think I lived there 3 months, and it was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, and just everything right now is more challenging. Even the drive back and forth along the thruway. The one nice thing about the thruway is that there was, you've got all these service areas that are every so many miles, but now there's no consistency in what's open.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really it's not good. And for me, being in the hospitality business and understanding that that people need to see some consistency in order for them to have to want to make that confidence that they're going to stop. And so right now that's a bit of a challenge, and I understand why. There's staffing issues. There's the fact that there are less people traveling. I'm not blaming anybody, but it's just unfortunate.
It's a reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I told you before the show I was going to ask you this question, so I'm going to ask the question real simple. We all, like I said, we all been reading the paper, so we know some of the stuff that's going on. But tell us 3 really cool things or good things that have been coming out of Albany that maybe we don't know about.
Well, sure, I'm happy to do that. I'm very proud to say that I was the co-prime sponsor of something called the Nourish New York program, which the governor had originally introduced during the pandemic. And this is a program that is bringing surplus food from our farmers, particularly here in upstate New York, and bringing it to food banks around New York State. Now, this was started because the pandemic showed the weakness of our food supply chain. You had farmers dumping milk and letting their crops rot in the fields. Yeah. And meanwhile, you had store shelves that were empty. You had food banks that were out of food.
A real disconnect there.
Yes, exactly. So I actually met on a farm tour. Again, as the agriculture chair, I toured the state. The ranking member. I've toured the state, and I met an assembly member by the name of Catalina Cruz. She represents an area of Queens called Corona, actually, and it was ironically also one of the hot spots for the pandemic.
Wow.
And I met her on this farm tour, and we worked together. She visited some farms in upstate New York, heard directly from farmers about the impacts. She is a self-described very progressive member of the legislature. However, just a fantastic public servant. And then she invited me to come down to Queens. She took me on an amazing tour of her neighborhood. I got to meet so many people that were impacted by this. We went to a makeshift food bank distribution and handed out food to folks. And we really worked together to introduce myself in the Senate and her in the Assembly this permanent recurring program for the Nourish New York program, so that going forward, farmers will have the confidence that every year they're going to have that income for their surplus foods, which is great. It's been on the top of the list of the New York Farm Bureau. And at the same time, the food banks will understand that they will have that ability to have this funding consistently to buy that food from our farmers and ensure that they're getting nutritious food that is locally grown here in New York State and being able to put it confidently out every time that they need to do a food distribution.
That's phenomenal. That's great.
It's an amazing program. I mean, it started. It had to be tweaked a little bit, but I can tell you that I worked really closely with some of our food banks here locally to help them get through some of the red tape. I worked with Ag and Markets because of some, some bureaucracy stuff that created some roadblocks, but they were very cooperative. And again, with there's always this upstate downstate divide, right? And one of the silver linings to this pandemic is that we learned how dependent we are on one another in so many ways, and that this program, this Nourish New York program, brought together. And it made statewide news, national news. Actually, Politico covered the alliance between Catalina Cruz and myself to make this happen. So, with all the stuff that's going on in Albany, this unfortunately got a little drowned out by the noise. But I'm proud of what we have done in a bipartisan way to do something that's incredibly helpful to our farmers and to people in need.
So, if there's someone in the agricultural business right now that's listening, if they in the future had surplus, how would they get that surplus and get paid for it? How does that work?
Excuse me, it's a good question. Essentially, the local food banks can go to farmers, excuse me, and they can participate in the program. I would also recommend that they reach out to New York State Ag and Markets. You can contact my office, and we can help you make that connection to ensure that if there's any pre-qualifications, that they pre-qualify. But ultimately, the food banks will have the discretion, because we've loosened it up a little bit, so that they have the discretion to go to local farmers and access that food.
Very, very good. Because, where I live, there's quite a bit of agriculture, and I could well imagine, that there's probably some crops that didn't get to market this year. So that's great. All right, so that's one good thing. How about number two?
Number
Drum
two
roll.
is, last year we saw with this pandemic and the lockdown, so many people were, forced onto unemployment. Businesses had to lay people off. And one of the issues that has been brought forth, and as myself as a small business owner knowing this, was the impact that was going to have on what's called the Unemployment Insurance Experience Rating. What that experience rating is, the more people that you lay off, the higher your unemployment insurance is.
Oh, I got you.
Okay,
So that must have killed people.
Well, and so I worked with the NFIB, which represents small businesses across, not only here in New York, but across the nation. We had hearings on the impact on the workforce at the Senate, and I talked about the fact that New York State needs to push forward a hold harmless for businesses so that they would not suffer an incredibly dramatic increase in their unemployment insurance cost. Could be backbreaking for small businesses.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So we had this discussion, we put forth legislation, and I'm proud to say that earlier this year we did pass unanimously a unemployment insurance rating hold harmless, so that businesses will not see what could have been a doubling or more of their unemployment insurance rates.
I would never have thought of that. That's great. I know this is totally two different things, but this is sort of similar to the folks down in Texas that had the variable rate on their power, and they got like an $80,000 bill because the power went out. Well, there should have been a hold harmless rule there. So this is sort of the same idea. When things out of your control manipulates artificially the costs in a way, there should be a stopgap there somewhere. So that's great.
Yeah, agreed. And that's, I think, important for small businesses. We also have, I've also introduced legislation for the hospitality industry, various bills to help the hospitality industry. One that has passed committee, and I'm hopeful will be on our agenda in the near future, is for people who hold liquor licenses. Liquor licenses are expensive. If you are a restaurant or a bar or a hotel or a bodega, whatever, you have to have a liquor license in order to sell alcohol. Well, for what we call on-premise, people that are in restaurants and hotels and bars, many of them obviously didn't open at all or opened at limited capacity. So I have a bill in place that would extend those liquor licenses essentially for another year for most people, and not have to pay those big fees because
they already paid for it but never used it.
Exactly.
I figured that one out.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So this will help, especially our small businesses, our mom and pop local restaurants and bars and my gosh, even if you're a bed and breakfast that serves alcohol, So this is just kind of those part of a package of small business initiatives that we're putting forth again in a bipartisan manner.
I'm naive as far as cost. I suppose there's a range, but what does a liquor license cost? I have no idea.
Well, it depends. It's seasonal year round, but you could be spending it's thousands of dollars. It's not.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. It's not a fishing license. It's thousands of dollars per year, and also it depends on the way liquor licensing works. You actually license each, in the case of a bar, each bar. So the more points of sale that you have, the more your liquor licenses.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's it's very substantial.
Okay. So let me ask a question. Normally, when you get your liquor license, where do the funds go to?
The state.
So the state won't get those funds.
Right. In this case, you would extend it, and there's no doubt, but you keep in mind that the federal government just gave New York State a total of almost $25 billion.
Okay.
And the intent was, relief for our families and our small businesses.
Okay.
So also, and we'll make this point in more of an economic point, if those renewals now are going to force people to make the decision of whether or not I want to keep my business open, which it may very well, then I think the long-term economic benefit of giving people, giving these folks this, pass, if you will, for a year is going to far exceed the revenue that we'll create going forward, recurring, by
Gotcha.
keeping those business open. It justifies, I think, the short-term loss.
Okay, because the reason why I was asking is if you're not getting the income, how does that offset New York State budget? But the federal government gave you the blah, 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 and it all works out. Okay, so you said it's in committee. What does that mean?
Well, most bills will have to go through a vetting process with a specific committee. And I believe this one went through codes and passed the codes committee. And so now the process is you introduce a bill. It gets a bill number, which makes it officially a live bill, as we call it. Then it is assigned to at least one and sometimes two committees. Some things have to go through a couple processes, and then once it passes the committees, it will then be sitting and waiting to be put on a calendar to actually be voted on by the full legislature.
So, any guess when this might get voted on?
Well, no, and unfortunately, this is where it becomes a little political. It's the majority that gets to decide what goes on. We can force something out of committee, but we cannot force it onto the agenda for the full vote.
Gotcha.
But as I said, we had the Nourish New York bill.
This seems pretty universal, so hopefully it'll get some traction.
We'll hope for the best.
Okay, so I got more questions.
Sure.
Okay. You know that what I promised you when you were this person running for county executive, that I was going to ask you this every time I saw you. So I'm going to ask the question. I got to be true to myself and to you. The Gateway Center, is that got any traction?
Well, first of all, obviously with the pandemic and the ensuing challenges we faced, it certainly was slowed down, if you will.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a couple good things. We know that the Love's Travel Center is coming,
They're knocking down the old restaurant now.
which is great. Way back when they were first in discussions, we talked with them about our plans. They love the idea of this Gateway Center, obviously, because it'll be nearby. And we are still pursuing it. In fact, I had recent conversations with County Executive P.J. Wendell and Mark Geis, the Deputy County Executive for Economic Development. And we have had continued conversations on how can we continue to push this forward. So now that we're starting to see this federal relief money coming in and the fact that it is focused on trying to bring our economy back, I'm hopeful that we can pursue more avenues from various sources to get that Gateway Center.
Right. You had said
completed.
that this is going to take a lot of fingers and hands and backs.
The good news is that from a cost standpoint, you're talking about to do the plan that we proposed, which I think it was scaled properly because we did the right research, we had the right firm hired, is about $16 million. Less than half what it costs to build that Gateway Center in Grand Island. So I'm hopeful that we can make the case that not only is it right here on the border of Pennsylvania, off the I-90, so it's a good investment that should yield a good return and be self-sustaining, and we'll continue to push for that.
Well, we're hoping good things as we crawl and claw our way out of this pandemic, that we'll hopefully see that. But we'll let Loves get built first and get their feet on the ground. Hops and Grains, that was one of your babies.
Yes.
I think on the first day of being a New York State Senator, you were speaking to my Rotary Club, and you did a presentation when I was president of the club. So where's that at?
So we're still, we're still alive on that. Of course, again with the pandemic, it was paused. The Empire State Brands, we did get a long way.
Right.
Chris LaCarrata, who is still heading that up. We speak regularly. It won a $3 million grant through the competitive grant program the state has. So it also has garnered some private investment. So I'm confident that, again, once we get through this pandemic and we can start seeing where the opportunities are, we will be able to get that back on track. That being said, I go back to all the federal stimulus money, all of the money that has been handed off now to our state and local governments as another opportunity for us to be focused on economic development. And that's the discussions that I've been having with our local leaders, that this pandemic money that's coming in, certainly there is a lot of money that needs to be used to continue the efforts to fight the pandemic, but that the lion's share of this money can and should go to stimulate our economy and economic development, and everybody seems to be on the same page. So stay tuned on that one also.
All right. Now, I know you can't answer this question.
Okay.
Because I don't think anybody can. But a general sense of when do you think our state will return to some normalcy where the machinery, the system is working again? I think right now I use the comparison that we're priming the pump still. We're putting money into the system to get the pump moving, the machinery moving again. So then people are back to work, people are paying taxes, people are spending money. The businesses are open again, and people are employed and off of unemployment, all that stuff. But do you have a sense of where we're at right now?
Well, I think we're on the other side of the hill,
Okay.
as they sometimes say, and I think we're starting down in the right direction. What it's going to take really is for people to feel comfortable, and I think part of being comfortable is having that vaccine. For those that are questioning it, whether or not they should get it or not, I'm a firm believer that this vaccine is safe. These vaccines are safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I do strongly encourage everyone, especially those folks that are in a high-risk category, to get the vaccine. That being said, we do not have to have everybody vaccinated to the point where we can start reopening things in
Right.
a somewhat normal way. As you mentioned earlier on the show, take those steps and look at, if a company, a restaurant or a store or whatever says we want you to wear a mask, that's their policy.
Yeah.
Where I think we, as in the New York State, what we have to do is we need to stop this one-size-fits-all way of handling things. I think that you may criticize other states for opening up more than we are, but the reality is it's not. It's more about local control. It's about people in local communities, local governments, businesses being able to understand the risks and to set their rules accordingly and let people make those decisions. So if you walk into a store and they say, I'm sorry, you have to have a mask on, even in the states where there's no longer a mask mandate, you have to put a mask on if you want to go in
Well, it's no
there.
different. No shirt, no service. No
Yeah,
shoes,
exactly.
no service.
Absolutely.
I mean, no mask, no service.
Exactly. And by the way, those businesses can continue on indefinitely if they wish. Now, it's up to them, whatever those consequences might
Right.
be at some point, right? When everybody's comfortable, we've achieved herd immunity, if you will. But it is their right to continue that on. So.
I'm going to ask you a question. How many masks do you have in your coat pocket at any given time? My son was with me the other day and we were going somewhere. He says, I forgot my mask. He says, Dad's got you covered. I had like 6 or 7 different ones in my pocket.
Yeah, I've got on average 3 for me. But I got them in the console of my car. I've got them
Hanging on my steering wheel column everywhere.
The other thing I won't do is I won't hang it from the rearview mirror because
No.
I think that's a distraction. So
Yeah. This is a terrible aside, but you wear a mask and you go somewhere like, and I'm not going to say anywhere, even at home, but you put the mask on and you go, fish fry. You put the other one and go, I cooked bacon the other day, but those masks, they hold the smell.
Doc, you got to wash the masks.
Well,
That's
these paper ones, so you cannot wash that paper. I'm positive.
Public service announcement. Clean masks.
Oh my God! I said, what is that smell? Okay, good stuff. Well, I'm glad to hear things are going in a progressive, in a positive manner. Marijuana. You and I had a really insightful conversation, at least last time, I think, or if not before that, or both times. But your concern was the way the law was being written, that we didn't know what the law covered. Because if you had some type of marijuana extract in candy, is that part of the law? If it was a medicine, is that part of the law? And so on. So where are we at? Because I keep hearing we're getting closer, but I don't know what the closer is.
Yeah.
So, do you know?
Well, yeah, and I've had a lot of in-depth conversations with my colleagues, particularly on the other side of the aisle, and I expressed my concerns. I actually just put out a press release about what I've been asking for. I am opposed to the legalization of recreational marijuana for a number of reasons. However, I'm also a realist to know that we are, getting close, as they say. Now, they've been close. They've been saying that for 3 years now. So we'll see. It does appear that we may see something even as soon as this coming week. But there are several concerns. The folks that are in favor of legalizing recreational marijuana consistently say one thing to me, and that is, you should treat marijuana the same way you treat alcohol. Okay, if that's the case, then we need to have the same level of public safety in place to deal with recreational marijuana as we do with alcohol, right? That's consistent.
Yep.
We are nowhere close to that. That is my concern. We all know that there is no breathalyzer, and that even though there are talks about these things out there, there's really nothing that would achieve the same level of being able to consistently on site, on scene, if you will, with somebody who's potentially dangerous to themselves and others, to determine whether or not they are truly intoxicated with marijuana. There is nothing out there. So the only tool that we have right now is what they call drug recognition experts, DREs. These are people that are trained and certified. It's a very lengthy process, and they go through a whole series of steps to determine if someone is truly impaired. In Chautauqua County, for example, we have approximately 200 police officers. Guess how many of them are drug recognition experts?
I know the answer to this. It's less than 5.
Because
You told me this.
Yeah. Currently, I believe it's 3. Last I knew, it used to be 4, because it also has to be annually recertified. So what I have called for is part of this legislation is that for them to set aside money to make every single police officer in New York State a DRE.
Let's hold that thought. We have a call.
You got it.
Okay. Morning, caller.
Good morning, Jack. Good morning, George. I don't mean to interrupt you. I won't hold you up. It's very interesting.
We can continue.
Yeah,
That's
no
not a problem.
problem.
I write things down here.
This is Linda Spalding. I used to work at the Office for the Aging. It's good to see you back.
Yes,
Welcome back.
Good to be back, Linda. How are you?
I'm great. And we've got this beautiful spring weather coming, and you're working hard in Albany, making things better for us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's really great. And you did so much for us when you were county executive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You really revitalized the area, so thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, Doc, I saw your show last week, and I learned something that I didn't realize, that Highlights is still going strong. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Dave Brown's family, his family founded and still run Highlights magazine for kids. Isn't that cool?
No, it is. I know the Browns. So, I guess we all do. So, well, I don't want to interfere with your discussion, so have a wonderful weekend and week.
Happy spring.
Thank you.
Either today or tomorrow, one of the two.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Linda.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Always good to hear from Linda. Okay. So, where are we?
Right, so we'll go back to...
Yes. I said I wrote things down, and I know I have marijuana. That's all I wrote down.
Marijuana. All right, that's good.
About these
DREs.
DREs.
Yeah. So what I've called for is that every police officer in New York State be trained and certified as a DRE. The initial cost is approximately $600 million, which is more than double, or excuse me, about double the projected revenues that the governor has in his budget and then the recurring expense will be annually about $60 to $100 million. I think it's critical. And again, for those folks that say we need to treat marijuana the same way we treat alcohol, then this is the way to do that. Every single day, every police officer in New York State goes to work with the tools and the training to identify someone operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. So to be fair and to be consistent, then every single police officer in New York State should go to work every day with the tools and the training to identify somebody operating a vehicle under the influence of marijuana.
Well, let's take it a step further to guarantee the fact public safety.
Yes. And
right? It's no different than anything else. Any kind of prescription medication or alcohol, if they don't know what they're dealing with, they can't keep people, safe. And I'm not saying people that use marijuana are not safe. I'm saying, and you're saying, I believe we're saying the same thing, is that if someone is really, really high and should not be behind the wheel, they shouldn't be behind the wheel, regardless of what the source is.
Correct. And we made tremendous progress with alcohol. You go back 30 years, and the DWIs and the fatality rates were so much higher. And how did we do that? We did that by stricter enforcement, by good education, and by sending the message to people that if you're going to do this, you run the risk of not only harming yourself and others, but if you're caught, there's tremendous penalties. And if we do not have that same type of deterrence, if people know that they can go out and there is no breathalyzer and there aren't any strict penalties, then we are going to set ourselves back decades when it comes to public safety, and particularly in traffic safety and traffic fatalities. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's no different than knowing that when you leave the bar or the restaurant, that if you've had so many drinks, you shouldn't be driving.
Correct.
So if you're using marijuana and you've partaken of so much, you shouldn't be driving. Right. I mean, and I think there's some public education that needs to go into that too. Is when is too much? I don't know. Is it one joint, two joints? What I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, so people, in fairness to them, they need to know the rules or what to look for themselves when they're out and about. That's
an excellent point, and I think that goes back to the education part of it. And marijuana is very complex. First and foremost, not to delve into I know we're going to have a couple minutes, but it's not your grandfather's marijuana, is what a lot of people say. It's much higher in THC, very, very potent, the legal marijuana. You cannot tell legal marijuana from illegal marijuana. So the black market in other states has gone up. And if we don't learn from the mistakes that other states have made and correct those things, then shame on us for not doing that. But the other thing, too, is that if you look at other states like Colorado, most marijuana that is sold in Colorado is not for smoking. It's edibles, it's vaping, and so therefore, when you start talking about law enforcement, you start talking about how do we deal with this situation, when you pull someone over, the police have to have probable cause to engage them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you're smoking marijuana, the probable cause typically is odor or even smoke.
Yeah.
So I pulled if you read some of these, we pulled the person over, came up to the window, and I smelled the odor of marijuana, and that's what gave me the probable cause to go to the next step.
Right.
Well, if there is no odor because they've been eating marijuana-laced gummy bears, then there is no probable cause. That's why DREs are critical in order for us to be able to ensure that a police officer at that moment can take someone who's a danger to themselves and others off the road.
No argument here. We got about a minute left, and I got a request for phone numbers. If people want to follow up with any of these items that we've talked about, we've covered quite a bit already.
Yeah.
So how do they get hold of you?
So you can call the Jamestown office at 664-4603. You can also go to our website. You can go to the nysenate.gov, and you'll find a link for find your senator. And my last name is spelled B as in boy, Orrello, and that will take you to a link to my specific Senate page. And you can also email me at Borrello@nysenate.gov. Those are the best ways to reach us.
And be kind.
And please be kind.
I'm serious. I mean, I've been politically elected over the years in different things, and I want people to be nice to me because we can get things done when we're nice.
Most people are nice.
All right.
We live in a great community with friendly people.
All right, you got 13 seconds. What do you want to tell folks?
I want to say go out there and be safe. And remember, folks, this is not over yet. Please be responsible. Get your vaccine, and we are on the other side of this soon. Let's hope for a nice summer ahead.
Excellent. George Borrello, the New York Senator from District 57.
That's correct.
All right. Has been my guest today. And folks, I hope you have been enlightened by some of the good stuff coming out of Albany. If you want to read the other stuff, or hear about it, read it. You're not going to hear it necessarily here. Enjoy the summer weather. Next week we will be pre-taped, so I won't be live. Maybe you're happy with that. I don't know. Anyways, thanks, George, for being my guest today, as always, and thanks for your service. I know it's a tough job sometimes.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
folks, take care. Enjoy the sunshine. And if you're around Mayville, stop in at the inlet. And there you have it.